Good day and welcome to my channel. I'm JD, and today we're going to be working on this beautiful Meridan Swiss fake North American pocket watch. So what I mean by that, as I said in an earlier video, is that this watch was made in Switzerland and it was made to look like or replicate a North American pocket watch from around the 30s, 20s and 30s. So today we're going to disassemble this pocket watch because I believe there's a fake plate that you have to remove first, and I think there's also fake cap jewels on this watch. We're going to strip this thing down and actually look at it and see how fake it really is. So I know it's not fake news, but it could be fake watches. So please enjoy the video, and please, I appreciate comments on the video. If you have any information about the Meridan pocket watch, please send me a comment with that information, or you can email me at jdwatchservice@gmail.com. And if you're interested in me doing any servicing of watches for you, just email me at that address. So please enjoy the video and have a good time. And I think we're going to just expose this watch for what it really is. Oh yeah. Alright, here we go. The adventure begins. So we've got the Meridan pocket watch here. It's old. I don't believe this is worth a lot of money. Some people collect these watches. I had already unscrewed the back, so this should just come off like that. And there we go. There's the pocket watch. And as I said before, I think it's fake. I think it's I think that this plate on top here is as fake as a plate can get. So I believe we're going to expose this pocket watch after I take it out of the movement. I put this wheel back on. It's got a bit of Rodico in the back of it to hold it in place, because I just wanted to make sure that was would stay with the watch. So I just got to get rid of a little bit of the Rodico there and toss that out. And as many people have told me there, they said, JD, you got to use cleaner Rodico. Another thing is that somebody asked me where I got this mat. So this little mat I work on. This is a dollar store mat. They come in a big roll of this mat. I think it's like $2 because everything in a dollar store costs $2. So I think it was probably $1 when dollar store first started. And then they said, hey, we're not making enough money. Let's turn it into the $2 store. So executive management agreed, because why not double your profits? So they turned it into the $2 store. So I got this mat at the dollar store, and actually my wife picks them up for me every now and then. So when I tell her that my mat's getting dirty, she picks it up. I just found a little jewel here from my previous job. That was the cracked jewel I had replaced on Boris pocket watch. So that I'm getting rid of. I don't need to have that jewel hanging around, just staring at me saying put me away. So I want to take this apart. So let's just take the face off of it, I think. Remove the hands. Oh, hands are gone. That's how fast I work. So I'll have to remove the top here and remove the crystal. Just put it off to the side. I'm not too worried about this watch, as I don't think it's worth a lot of money. But I will try to be as careful as I can when I'm working on it. There's not more Rodico, I think, there too. Eh? And I'll also try to keep this in camera as best as I can. So today up in good old Canada, it's a little colder than yesterday, because we had, in American terms, it would have been probably about 45 degrees, 50 degrees Fahrenheit. And in Canadian terms, it was somewhere around 12 or 13 Celsius. So you can go ahead and do the math on that, or just Google it, and Mr. Google will tell you exactly how cold it was. So, but it was beautiful, and it got rid of most of our snow, and our igloos all melted, and now we're screwed. So that's the way it works, I think. So that's out now. I haven't tried pulling this out and see if that actually pulls out or not, but it seems to drop out like that. I don't believe that there's a lever. I don't think this is actually lever set. There does seem to be something right here, though, that is of interest. So maybe that's where a lever used to be or something. But leave it to beaver lever. So that's that. I don't think I can let down the spring on this thing because there doesn't seem to be any method of doing that. So I think these plates are fake. So first thing I want to do though is take the face off of it and get this out of the way. Like I said, when you're working on watches, you want to get everything out of the way. I don't want to mar the face at all, but I could take the balance complete off of this watch, so I don't have any issues in the future. So let's just make sure that I'm zoomed in properly. Now, I keep saying zoomed, but what I mean is focused. And every time I say zoomed and my wife watches the video, she goes, "Don't you mean focus?" And I go, "Yeah, but I had a long week at work, so for me, zoom today is focused." So there you go. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to, as you can see in the upper left, I'm going to throw it in the bucket, because my other balance holder that I put together is being occupied because I'm waiting for a mainspring from ye old England. So it hasn't come yet. So let me just remove the balance here as I expose a little bit of it. And this balance, so what's making me curious is that this balance just comes straight up, I think. Yeah, this comes pretty much straight up like that. So let's have a look in that hole, but I'm going to leave the balance like this. And as I said before, I can rest the balance on the bucket, but leave this on top. So it's zero stress on the hairspring. So there we go. Just place that down like that. It's probably worse than zero stress. I need to lower it a bit. Lower the hairspring. I need to lower it a bit so there, that's perfect. So that's lowered. So it's sitting there, and that's in pretty good condition. I can't remember whether I dumped this one in alcohol yet, or not alcohol, but lighter fluid. It's funny, I was looking on the internet and I was looking for cleaning machines for watchmaking, and I found this cleaning machine, and the guy says, "Yeah, we've got these 3 buckets. One is the kind of a soap for cleaning the watch or something like that, and then the other 2 buckets," he said, "yeah, you put what do you call it? Petrol in the other 2 buckets. You do one with petrol, then you do the other one with petrol." Well, petrol is gas, like it's petroleum gas. It's gas. So when I do work on pocket watches, I use lighter fluid, which is gas. So Buddy Boy was saying you do it with petrol, which is gas. So I'm not using anything different than this guy's recommending with this modern washing machine. So I know there's better ones, and I do have a big jug of this washing liquid that I got recently off Amazon. So anyway, so this is what it looks like with this out. And if you can notice, or if you notice inside here, I'll just flick this over. There's the pallet fork. Let me just see if I can flick that over. And yeah, there, look at that. It just flicked over. So this configuration is the same configuration that you have in a vintage pocket watch, like an Elgin pocket watch, for example, where it would have the balance. The balance would be resting here, and the balance staff with the impulse jewel and roller table would drop through the center right onto this. So this is my first indication that there's something strange going on, trying to make this look like a North American watch, right? Which you know, I'm very curious whether this does anything here. This wheel does anything here. So that's stage 1. I'm going to take the face off of this watch first before I attempt to let the power down. So I'm not sure how to let the power down on this watch yet. So I may have to do some psychological investigation of power. But as I look through the side of the watch, see if I can show this to you. I'm using my number 58 watch movement holder, which I love. Look through the side of this baby, and that looks like it's an old vintage full plate pocket watch. That's what this looks like. So it doesn't look like it's a modern watch, like say a 922 or 992 rather. So it doesn't look like a Hamilton 992 movement, which this would be, right? And it's a shame not to have this fully wound up while I'm using it as an example. It should be wound up so that it's actually running. That way you guys go, what a nice watch. So There it is, wound up and running. And so this is a 992, and I think this is a 2/3 plate, so, or 3/4 plate, or whatever the hell they call it. But it's not a full plate pocket watch. But looking through the mechanisms on this sideways, it would be working differently than this other watch that I have here. The fake Numa Freshelin pocket watch. Numa Freshelin, right? So, and it says heat and cold, 3 adjustments, 21 joules. I'm going to do a joule count on this baby because I am curious where these 21 joules are coming from. And just taking this out, I can see 2 cap joules on here. 1, 2 here, but 3, 4. I'm just wondering whether these are real or not. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So the other thing is, if this is designed over the older full plate pocket watches where the balance staff drops through the center, then the winding mechanisms and such are on the inside here, and they're quite different than the ones that you would have on one of these pocket watches here. So let's move this out of the way here. So I do say so a lot. I've told you that before. I do not know what this screw is for at all, so that's a mystery. But let's just take the face off it and look on the other side, just so we can get the mystery out of the way. So I'm just going to unscrew these little screws here that allow you to remove the face. They haven't been in there for a million years, so it's going to be tricky. There we go. That's loosened up nicely. And as I've said a million times before, when I unscrew these, I tend to tighten them up again after. Sometimes I forget, but I want to tighten them up after so that I don't lose them. They're very small. And actually this screwdriver might be a little small for this job too, because it seems like it's just grabbing it, and I want to make sure I got a good grip on the screw when I'm turning it. Did that turn? Yeah, that's turning, so that's good there. Looking very closely at it to see if it's actually turning, and there should be 3 screws here, but looks like there's only 2. 1, 2. Yeah, there's only 2. That's amazing. So let's just wedge the screwdriver in here very carefully. This one here doesn't want to move, so I'm going to unscrew this a bit more even and see if I can get it to move now. There we go. So obviously there's a little groove in there. I'll show you that to you in a second. And you want to get the dial screw past that groove so it'll actually slip by and you can get the face off. That's not a problem. So there we go. So there's the groove. The groove is right there, as you can see. There's a little groove here, so when you take those screws back, you got to get them past the groove. So now there's the mystery. There's the watch now open on this side. And as again I've repeated many times, I usually take a photo of this just so when I get back and there's a challenge, I don't have an issue. So let me just take a quick photo of this, turn on my camera on my iPhone and just take a picture, and there we go. So looking at that carefully, I put that in the movement holder for a second. And what do I have here? So I've got some parts here that are kind of awkward or odd. I do have a dial washer, so that's nice. That means they at least took the time to put a dial washer on there. And that prevents the dial from pushing. Actually, what it does is it pushes up on the dial and it pushes down on the hour wheel. And that keeps the hour wheel in place so that it's in contact with the pinion of the minute wheel. So that's what that dial washer is for. And when the dial washer needs to be sort of bent a bit like that, so that the pressure is on there. So, and the last watch I didn't have a dial washer, and I was lucky I was able to find one to put on the watch. So that's that part of it. And I'm going to adjust the other camera here. Just no, maybe it's fine. I don't know. The one on top, just so you can see a bit more. Just adjust it like that, and make sure that it is focused. Is that focused enough? Yeah, there we go. I'm pretty retentive about making sure things are focused. So that's that. And I think I'll have to take all of this off at some point in time, but for now I'm just going to leave it the way it is because I really want to examine how this thing is put together. As you can see, there doesn't seem to be any jewels here. I cannot see a jewel there. That just looks like a plate. And this looks like the second hand is poking through here. This is this hand for the seconds right here. And that's just poking through. And it doesn't look like there's much of a second hand there, but it is there. And there's no jewel there at either. So I'm going to have a look. I said at either. Anyway, there's no jewel there. So I'm going to look down there with different glasses on there so I can get a closer view of that. But let me flip this around again for a second because I'm really curious about the plate. So I probably should take the cannon pinion off first before I try to remove this plate, but it does look like there's a jewel and a setting in the middle to make it look fancy. And again, all of this stuff here. So I don't know how much this is part of the watch. Also, if I look at it from the side, from an angle like that, I can see that this gear on top is actually attached to the mainspring barrel on the top. But I'll bet you dollars to donuts, when you wind this watch, it winds it from the inside, right? And it doesn't wind it from the outside. So this could just be fake and just turning around in a circle. So let's yeah, I don't know. I think it's fake. I really think it's fake. I don't think there's anything to it. To it and at it. I'm so confident that this is fake that I'm going to see if I can unscrew it and just pull it up. If it's not fake, this thing's going to go spinning like crazy, right? And if it is fake, it's not. So we're going to take a chance here on the Reading Railroad. It's got the right kind of arbor configuration in the center with a square on it. So it looks like it wants to turn, but I know that this does nothing. All this wheel does then, wheel or gear, whatever you want to call it, all this gear does then is turn when the mainspring barrel turns. So the mainspring barrel needs to be wound somehow. So how's that mainspring barrel being wound? That's the question. And again, I got to find out how to take the power off of this watch somehow. This little screw here looks like it's a screw that has something to do with the setting mechanism, I think. Let me look at this. I gotta get one of my bench keys out here and fart around for a second here. That's the wrong side. That's the wrong side. I need a bigger bench key. Where is a bigger bench key? So there's a bigger bench key. Too big. Is that perfect? No, that's too big as well. Why do I not have the right bench key? How come my bench keys are not right? Yeah, this is too big. This one's right. So now when I turn this, if I look at that like that, and I turn this like this, I can feel it just turning, right? Nothing much is happening here. If I press down on it and turn it, is there anything happening there? I can feel that there's a mechanism in there somehow that's flipping. Oh, I can see it right here. So you can see right there, as I push this really small mechanism moves up and down. So, and I don't know what the heck this does either. But perhaps if I unscrew this and I let this go, it'll allow the mainspring to let go. As well, if I push down and wind, it's winding the pocket watch. If I let go, it's not winding the pocket watch. It's turning the hands to set it. So, but this has something to do with all that nonsense. So I think I need to, let me flip it around the other way to make sure I'm not full of crap. So if I take this, as you can see, it's not pushing down, right? So it's trying to turn the watch to set the time. That's what that's doing right now. But if I push on it like that, it moves it out of the way. And I think I found the guilty party. There's the mainspring barrel there. And pushing this way moves this gear here that's under the plate. And it actually touches the gear here. And this gear here is actually on top of the mainspring barrel. So the barrel is being wound from the bottom, not the top, as it would normally be wound from with this square screw, the screw hole in the square metal here that would be on this gear, right? So this gear does 0. All it does is turn around and pretend it's something, right? And this gear does even less than 0. So this gear, I believe, isn't even screwed in. It just sort of rotates, right? So I don't think that has a purpose at all. And I don't know what this screw does. I think this might be just a screw, a plate screw or something. But what I can do is take this plate off. I think I really am so curious. I want to take this plate off and have a look at what the heck is in there. But before I remove the plate, there's always a but before, I really would like to release the power. So what I have to do is press on this, right, while I release the power. But if I hit this fast, this whole mainspring is going to fly. So I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to try to put a bit of pressure on this, which means I have to lay it down like so, right? So lay it down like that. And this is not an uncommon way of doing it. Is that right? English, not uncommon? So what this does is it moves that gear down towards the gear that's attached to the mainspring barrel. And if I just turn it a bit and I allow a little pressure, that's starting to unwind now. So I just have to put my fingers in a position that it allows it to catch it and unwind. So that's unwinding. I can feel the pressure of it unwinding. So I'm trying to take all of the pressure off the mainspring. So I tighten it up a bit, push down, and then loosen, right? And just let it ride back and then stop, right? Make sure it catches. Hold it again, right? And give myself enough play here so that I can remove it, right? So I'm not sure if you guys can see what I'm up to here, but I'll move it in a little further. So I'm pressing right here, which is the release, and that's the click spring for the mainspring. So I'm pushing down on that so I catch the mainspring wheel there, or gear, and then let it go loose. And so that's another turn I've saved. And then turn it this way like you're winding it, and then let it go again. I could put my finger on the top of this, would probably make it a little easier. And I think that's all she got. That's all the power in the mainspring right there. When I press that, nothing happens. So that's the ratchet, and the wheel under here is actually what's winding the mainspring, not the one on the other side. So again, more fakeness. So again, I've proven that this thing is total fake. So it's fake.fake.com. So let me just take another photo of this thing because I forgot. I don't think I did, but just in case I forgot, because I'm going to take this apart and then I'm going to finish the video taking it apart, and then I'll clean it and reassemble it and see if I can get this baby going again. But now I released the power on the mainspring. Now we get to do the discovery. So the big reveal, I'll call it. So this is the big reveal. We're going to take the main plate off. So this screw here, I'm not sure what the heck this does. I'm just going to loosen it a bit and see what this is up to. I think this is only holding this gear in the back down. So I don't think this is screwed into the plate. Not sure. So I just loosened this screw just a little tiny bit to see what's going on. And I'm also going to loosen this screw because this could be the plate screw. And I'm hoping it's not something different. So, because if I unscrew something that I don't know what it is, I'm like screwed. That looks like it's just holding that plate down. So that's that screw there. And I'll try to leave these in position 1, 2, 3. That way, when I go to put this back together again, I'm not fooled. So this is the big reveal. So I'm going to take this screw off now. And I don't know what any of these things will do, because I still think there's a fake plate on here for the fake switch watch. This screw is bigger than the other one, the screw that I'm looking at there. So I'm just going to point down a bit so I can see those screws. Yeah, so there we go. That's that screw there. So I got the screws lined up, 1, 2, 3, and I just have to remember that the screw, the rusty one I had is the one I took from here. So, and these are different size. I mean, you can still just shoot at it and see if you get it right, but I'd rather know that I'm right and not have to fake it. So let's just remove this screw here, and I want to see if the big reveal will show that this plate has done absolutely nothing for the fake pocket watch. And I don't know if this screw is just sitting there or whether the plate will go over it. Yeah, it will. Alright, here we go. It's going to be a big ta-da. There it is. So, as you can see, here's the fakeness. So, this has a function. This here is fake. Completely fake, because this pivot is actually being supported by the brass plate underneath, and not this fake jewel. So that's a fake jewel there. So that's one fake jewel. There is a jewel there, so they could say, yeah, I got a jewel, that's 21 jewels, but that's a fake jewel, that's not a real jewel. So that's that part. So that's pretty cool. And that looks like just a, probably nickel, I'd say. You guys can comment on this again, a nickel plate. And there's the mainspring, just sitting there. And it is wound from the back, so I'm just curious whether I can remove this mainspring, and I can. And so I just pull this up, and if you look at that, there's the configuration, folks. So that mainspring has got an arbor going through it, and then it has this wheel here, which is tucked in under here, and this is the ratchet for the wheel right there. You can see that on the inside, the ratchet. That's the ratchet that ratchets this wheel, and the thing is being wound from the bottom, where it's pretending that it's being wound from the top, which is full of poo-poo. So it's not being wound from the top. So that is a pretty cool configuration. And again, I got to take another picture of this because I don't know if I'll forget how to take this apart. Probably not. But I just think it's cool. And I think this plate probably just comes off like that. There we go. And I'll put this over on the side here. And there is the mainspring barrel. So you ever see an arbor like that before? I don't think so. This arbor goes all the way up and through again, and then it has a winding wheel on the other side, which is strange as a heck. So that's that part. This screw here is a screw that is part of this, the winding mechanism here, where you push it in and push it out, right? Sprung winding mechanism. So, and I don't think this does anything if I'm not. It still has a little bit of power on it or whatever. But that's that part there. So I'm going to flip this over again because I want to take the cannon pinion off of it and have a look at it from that part. Alright, back to fakethiswatch.com. Fake news, fake watch. So let's take the cannon pinion off it on the other side here. And I believe I already took a picture of this side, so I don't need to take any more photos. As beautiful as this fakeness is, I can just press this inward because it's the Meyers MEYERS movement watch holder, which is a piece of genius, I think. So I'll make sure the minute wheel is in position here. It seems like it rode up a bit. I'm thinking it's very difficult to find parts for a watch like this, so I don't want it to get damaged at all. And again, trying to remove some of this stuff is going to be tricky. So I'll try to take the cannon pinion out, and not sure, I may have to grab that with a vise and pull it straight up to take it out, because it doesn't seem to want to be grabbed. It's got issues being grabbed, folks. So I just have to get deep and dirty with it. Let me see what goes on here. Yeah, it has to go all the way in like that, and then I have to grab it somehow and push down, and it just slides. So nothing's happening. So that's a cannon pinion that doesn't want to go anywhere. But I believe I want to take that out. I think I want to take that out somehow. So I'll get a vise or something that's going to grab it a little bit better than what I had before. Let me think. Let me think. What would work here? What would work? Maybe this would work, right? So I've done this before and it was successful. So I'm not sure if this will be successful. Just grab it like that. Can I get that over the top? I don't know. I don't want to bend it. That's the biggest risk in doing something like this is actually bending that wheel, and you're left with a bigger problem. So just put that over the top if I can, nice and carefully. That doesn't want to do it, so I got to pick something else that'll make it happen. All right, I found another one that's a bit wider and older actually. This is like vintage diesel. So make that as small as possible and then tighten it up. Is that loosening it up or tightening it up? Yeah, that's tightening it up that way. So you just put that over the top of the cannon pinion. I'm praying it'll work again. Tighten that up. I'm always tightening and loosening in the wrong direction, I think. Go this way. And it's got to be really tight or it won't work. So there we go there. So that's pretty tight there. Now I'm going to try to use my hand removers to give me leverage to lift it straight up. I've never done this before, but if it works, I'm a genius, and you guys can try the exact same thing. Look at that, it didn't work. It did come up nicely though, so I gotta admit that was nice and smooth. So I'm gonna try that again. Tighten that up as much as I can. This is one stubborn cannon pinion, and I'm using these as leverage, as levers underneath the thing here. So if I pull these up, will it take off? No, it's not taking it off. So all right, the cannon pinion is not coming out easily, so I have to figure something else out. I don't want to lift it from the gears here because that'll ruin it. I don't think I can get under it in any other way. I know that I can tap it on the top probably to loosen it a bit, but still, that's not an ideal way of removing a cannon pinion. This probably is the worst thing to do because I'll end up stripping or taking these gears of the pinion and ruining that. So cannon pinion is not coming out for now. We'll worry about that a little later. So cannon pinion. All right, after unsuccessfully removing the cannon pinion, I'm not sure how to do that. I want to make sure that I don't ruin it, and then this one here seems to be stuck, like really stuck. So I can get all of this out and then see if I can pop this out somehow. So and maybe I end up just washing it in place, which I don't like to do, but I don't want to ruin the cannon pinion or anything else. So, but I want to remove this plate right now. So I think this plate is only down because the other plate was on top of it. So I'm going to just unscrew this thing here, whatever this is. Actually, this goes straight up, I think. Yeah, it seems to be free of the plate. So this screw might be the only one holding this plate on, because the other screw was part of the upper plate. So this is a lower plate screw. So let me loosen this and see if I can just lift this plate up. I might be able to do. Okay, you're going to put the screw way over here with its buddy. And then I need to get a screwdriver under here and see if I can move this somehow. Will it go? Yes, it will. Look at that. There's the second plate. And if I turn this around and look at that, are these actually capped? Yeah, they are actually. So these are all capped jewels. I'll look at that under a magnifying glass, or microscope rather, but they're all capped. And actually they all look in fairly good condition. This one here looks like it might have a little wear on it, but I'll have a look at that and fix that. This looks like a brass plate that's sitting on top, and these do look like they're caps for those two jewels, or for those two wheels. So if I look at the wheel configuration, the wheelhouse, as they might call it, I'm going to make sure that this screw is close to his buddy there. If I look at the wheel configuration here, I'm going to take another quick picture of this because I will not remember this. So this is a really odd configuration for this watch. Take a quick photo. And here is the pallet fork, right? And that's old style pocket watch pallet fork. That's what that is. So it's not a new modern normal fork pallet fork. It's the straight lever one, I think. There's the escapement, which looks sort of normal. There is one of the wheels, and this is the, if I look down, this would be the one for the seconds hand, right? And then this one here, tucked under, I may just slip it out here, is the intermediate wheel, and then I would take this out if I could. So if I can remove that pallet fork. And now there's all kinds of nonsense over here that I got to worry about, because there's a spring here, as I can see, right? That's a spring in place, and that spring is held in place, I think, perhaps by this plate here. This is where the winding mechanism, as you look at this here, this little crown turns here, and as this turns, this wheel over here is turning. So this is actually the crown, or I don't remember the name of the thing, but this will turn the gear on the top. So if you look on, turn this over and try not to drop anything. Yeah, this little gear turns this gear slash wheel on top, which turns both this and this, whether you're winding it in place or you're setting the time. So I may just leave all this stuff the way it is, give it a good bath and oil it up, because I have a suspicion if I take all this apart, it could get ugly. So if I take it apart, I just have to take this and this apart. As you saw earlier, this super duper jobby doohickey here, move this into place here. Right, this screw here is for this here, right? And when I push the watch, when I push the movement in, I take my, I think I put my movement, my bench key back. But when I do this, let me see if I can get that in place. Is that in? Yeah, okay, there we go. There, you see how that moves? That's how that moves, right there. So that's pretty tricky stuff. So I have this fear that this is, I'm going to screw it all up. Is that focused at all? Focus it some more. No, it's pretty focused there. That's not bad. So there we go. So that's how that works there. I may not, I really don't want to, I'm worried about two things here. So the first thing is I'm worried about these parts, these springs getting broken. But I'm probably more worried about losing one of these parts. Not really. Oh, how brave am I? Alright, let's be brave. I'm going to be brave. Because bravery in the face of the enemy is what you need. So, this thing does not want to turn. I don't want to break anything. So, that screw, that head could come right off if you try to turn it. And it's this old. I'm just going to wash this in place. I'm not taking this off. That would ruin this nice little watch. So I'm going to wash this in place and leave this the way it is, because I know it works. I'm not going to remove that cannon pinion. I'll wash all that in place. This is brass underneath here. It looks like they have a nickel and brass combined here. So I know you'll give me lectures on this, but please don't. It's kind of weird because it looks like it's a brass on the bottom and then it's nickel plated maybe on top. And there's definitely, these are definitely capped too. So there's cap jewels here and here as well. And there's jewels down in here. So actually it's a fairly high quality watch, even though the center wheel is not, it's nonsense. The center wheel is just going, the pivot here is just going through the center of, grab this here, the big reveal. It's just going through the center right here. So it's just going through this, but this is a brass plate, so the friction is no problem. If you have a brass plate on top and you have a steel pivot on the top of this, it's not an issue, right? So you could wear this brass plate out over time, though. That's the only problem. So I'm really worried about breaking the head off of the screw, because that would cause me all kinds of cosmic problems. And that was very tight. I put some heave-ho on that, and it didn't do anything. So I'm going to leave this the way it is, and I'm going to wash that in lighter fluid, and then I'm going to oil it up the best I can, and then we'll see where we are after that. And I think that I can do exactly the same with this. Leave this the way it is and oil it up, leave that spring the way it is. It's not perfect. I wouldn't do this if I was doing this as a job for somebody. I probably would not do this. So the other thing is, these look like two little banking pins right here, and one of them looks like it's bent outward a little, so they may have been adjusted over time for the proper banking of this watch. But in general, it looks like a pretty fine movement, even though it's a fake one. So it's a fake Swiss watch movement, but if you look at the back here, you can see that the jewels look like they're burnished in the setting, and on the top part, this looks like it's a cap. So I should unscrew one of those and have a look. What do you think? Let's do it. Let's go deeper into the adventure here. So lay this plate down like so, and I'm going to focus the camera and be right back. So to do this work, I'm going to put my new bifocals on. Look at that. Look at those glasses. They're 1.5 in the top, 3 in the bottom, which are perfect, and I can do really detailed work with these things on. Even though right now I got to let my eyes adjust to them somehow. So there we go. Let me just see if I can remove this screw here. I may have to get closer to do this. May have to get the old flip over stuff happening here. The old flip over. Yeah, nothing like the flip over when you need to flip something over. My chair's all the way down, so I can't screw with that. So let's just get this blade in here as good as we can. Yeah. It's not wanting to turn, so maybe these are fake too, eh? What do you think? Holy shine holy. Alright, that one is unscrewed. And I think I probably need to use Rodico to take this out. Look on the other side of this. Yeah, I don't know. These look like they're fake or something. Let me see. If this whole thing is fake, I'll be peeved. Alright, I just pushed this screw through here, and there it is. So it is a screw. It looks like it might be doing something here, but I don't trust it. So I'm going to try taking the other one out here and see if that works. Just trying to find a screw. They're pretty flat. Is that coming out? I don't want to strip this screw. Jesus, there's not a lot of surface on these screws. 0, I'd say. I got this one turning though. It's got an angle on it or something. I think the quality control department of this watch company needs us to get a hit in the side of the head. wonder if I can just push this one out again with the pin, because it doesn't look like it's got much grip on it. There we go. So these don't have much downward pressure on them, these screws. They may be more for decoration than for actually holding anything in place. So those are those two screws. Now if I come in at an angle with the screwdriver, can I lift this jewel up? Yes, I can. And there it is. That is the big ass ruby. Sorry for my swearing. So that is the jewel right there, and see if I can grab that and see if it's flat. And it looks like it's, you know what, this is not a cap jewel. This is a fake cap jewel, because I don't think the pivot would go through that hole enough for the cap jewel to do anything. So when I look at this jewel up close, this jewel here is embedded a bit, so that it's sitting there, but it's embedded. It looks like there's absolutely no marks where a pivot might hit the top of that. So I'd say this jewel has zero function. And if I look at where the actual hole is, where the pivot goes through, is there a jewel there? There is a jewel there. So it looks like there's a little tiny jewel there where the pivot would go through, but it's not touching. Yeah, there it is. So that jewel, yeah, there's a jewel sitting there that's burnished in place right there. And this jewel is just burnished in place. The pivot goes through, but this cap jewel that we saw earlier, that's this big fake cap jewel, this has got zero function. That jewel does zilch. So you still have to remove this jewel to get access to the top to actually work on the to clean the top of this jewel. But I would probably put the watch together and then put these fake jewels back in, because they have no function. This thing has no function because this is embedded too much. So given that, I can probably remove this other screw here. I'm putting a lot of pressure on these screws to turn them, because I don't want them to break. And as I'm screwing them out, the threads don't seem to be catching. It all seems to be decoration. So let me just push from the other side again like I did before. There. That's that screw there. And these are decorative, as they say in the world of decoration. Those are decorative screws. Those have nothing to do with the function of the watch. And we take this one out too. You know what, I could probably remove this cap without even having to take that screw out. No, I better do it. And when you do this, you go in with your screwdriver and make sure that it's gripping both sides of the screw. Otherwise it's going to strip it. I'm having fun here. Like I said before, I'm putting a lot of pressure on this. I'm going to pick a different screwdriver here. This is the black one I'm using. I think it is. Should try yellow here and see if that's going to work any better. Yeah, I got it turning a bit, I think. Did that work? Nope. Didn't work any better. I think if I just use the needle and just push these things out from the other side, I'm probably better off. Anyway, I'll leave this for another day. I'm not going to fart with this on video for the next hour. So I don't think this is I don't think these screws do anything. Just to keep the decorative cap on the top. So this one here is just keeping the decorative cap on. And if I were to turn that once, it would just pop out. So it's not really doing anything. And the cap, I don't even know if the cap is that hugged into that screw, but I'm sure it's got some kind of a grip on there. Anyway, I'll figure out how to get that screw out later. But so these are completely decorative screws here, and these are also decorative. There's nothing to do with this. This doesn't even come out. I don't believe. Oh no, maybe there's a cap on these. Yeah, these actually do look capped. I changed my mind, as they say. So I think these ones do have caps on them, but these ones absolutely do not, because that pivot would not go far enough through that to make any difference. So there we go. So it's pretty neat how much work they put into this fake watch, but it's absolutely a fake pocket watch. So in the next video I make, I'll clean it all up. I'll see if I can get this off here, and I will make another video reassembling it. I might get brave again and see if I can attack this screw here without potentially damaging everything. You could put, just as a tip here, you could put this plate, you could put it and use a stake to tap down lightly on here, but the problem you're going to have there is there's a chance you'll bend the plate in the bottom. So if you're working on watches and you think that you can, loosen the cannon pinion by just pounding down on the gear, I think I did that years ago, and I sort of warped the plate a bit. It was on a small pocket watch that was converted into a watch, and I remember thinking I could do that, and that was a bad idea. So if this should come up and come out, but it seems to be stuck as crazy, right? So in this case here, I don't really care whether I'm removing this or not. So I tried my cannon pinion remover. If you can get the hand removers deep enough in here, so if I get this hand remover deep enough to be sort of beyond these gears, right, then there's a chance that if I could do that, there's a chance I could lift it up. I'm just trying it right now to see if what happens. I'm looking close here, but the danger there is that you'll take one of the gears, one of the teeth here, and snap it off. So not recommended. If you have any other advice for removing this, I tried using the grips there. I've got other types of grips like this that I can try to place over the top and pull straight up, right? Sometimes this works. I don't know if these ones will work, but you slip that over the top and then you push this down and it grips the crap out of it, right? And then you just pull straight up. See, it's got this kind of a grip, so it's got a sliding ring on it, and then you can pull straight up and see if you can remove this. And that didn't work. Not enough grip on there. So I may be shit out of luck, as they say in the watch world, to get this thing off nicely, or I may have to go hardcore and get out something as thick and big as this. Now we're talking hardcore cannon pinion removal. I'm going to try this for a second. Bear with me. Alright, I tried using this. I tightened the crap out of it. I pulled up and it still didn't move. So this is when I give up. Leave the gear there, clean it in place. It should be fine. If you're slick enough, you could probably get some oil underneath there too from the other side where that wheel is. Just a little dab of oil in there and leave it the way it is. So it should be fine. I can also hold the gear with my finger and see whether I get any movement of the cannon pinion, because you'll need that to wind the watch, or sort of to set the watch in time. So if I take this, see if this actually works. Yeah, so if I'm turning this way, I'm not sure if I've got enough, if what I've done over here is going to prevent me from doing that. You unscrew this just a little bit here. The adventure continues. There we go. So that's now moved. So now I turn this. There we go. So let's move back. I need to move this way, which means I need to press in, I think. Or does it do it the other way? No, it's the other way. So I gotta get this screw out of the way or something to make this happen. The mystery continues. Mystery continues. Just loosen this up a bit more, maybe. That's pretty loose there. And this is almost in the right place. Yeah, there, the wheel's turning now. So let me just push this down just nice and easily. So there we go. So that's in place. So you want to make sure that the cannon pinion, see how the wheel's turning there? So if I hold the wheel with my finger very carefully, maybe just jam something in there nice and easy. I need a toothpick is the best thing to jam when you're jamming stuff. So if I just find the gear here and I just put the toothpick right here and I turn this, the cannon pinion moves and the gear doesn't. So that's what you want, like that, just to test to make sure that the cannon pinion is going to move, and it is moving. So I do have some rotation of the cannon pinion, even though the darn thing won't come straight up for some reason. So if you've got another hint for me to remove it, then fine. If you don't, I'm leaving it the way it is. Too bad, so sad. But I will take these caps off and see if I can clean the other side. Clean the other side. So I'll have a completely cleaned pocket watch. Anyway, that's the big reveal. This is a fake pocket watch. So as you saw today, this watch is fake, fake, fake. So this is a fake pocket watch. And as you can see here, the watch movement is very similar to an old style pocket watch. Not a modern pocket watch like the 992 movement I showed you from a Hamilton 912. So, and as I showed you earlier, this is the real top plate. These jewels are for decoration. And let me just get a piece of paper out and show you quickly why I believe that is. Alright, so the jewel in the setting, so on the bottom I saw the jewel was in a setting, it was burnished in, so it has slightly down like that, then the burnishing piece of metal like this, and the jewel was sitting there like so, right? I apologize for looking down right now, okay? But maybe I'll switch to another view. Hang on a second. Switch to another view. Alright, the other view. Plus put some glasses on so I can see. Jeez. I don't care who you are. So there's the jewel there. The jewel goes over like this. And then there's the jewel hole, and then the other side of the jewel hole, and the jewel goes over like that. Right? And then there's the burnishing on top of the jewel like this, just a bit. And it goes over just a bit like that. And then it went down, and this had a little lip on it. Right? That was like that. So this went down like this, and it had a little lip on it like that. See if I can draw that properly. And then the plate continued. That's the plate itself. And then here it goes down, back up again, and then the plate continues, and the plate continues there. So this is the jewel here, and then this cap thing that you saw earlier. This grab it for a second here. See if I can grab this cap. This cap, yeah, I am having a hell of a time grabbing this cap. There we go. There's the cap there. And this little dome thing happening on there to make it look fancy. And the cap is flat on the back, so that is good. When I look down into the cap, I notice that there's 0 marks in the center of the cap where the pivot would have been touching that cap. Plus it's down a bit, right? So it's down a bit, which means the spacing is off, right? So if I look at the, you look at this, move that over a bit. Yeah, so if I look at this, it looks like the cap is sort of inward a bit, like that. It goes inward a bit, so the actual cap part is over here somewhere, and then down a bit, and then over, like so. And then there's this big setting that it's in, the jewel setting, and then this jewel here is just one big round thing, and this I think is probably to make it look good. And it's sitting, the setting's about probably up a little higher than that, so something like this, like that. So these are the jewels, right? And these jewels may or may not be rubies. The bottom one is probably a ruby, but the top one's probably fake, but it looks like a big red thing, right? So like that. And this is the jewel on the bottom, like that. And there's the hole. And so now the pivot, let me grab another marker here so I can show you. Get the right color marker. I'll use a blue one. So the wheel is down here. There's the wheel, like that. It's got little wheel teeth and stuff. That's sort of a side view of the wheel. And then the arbor for the wheel comes up. There may or may not be a pinion on this side of the wheel, like that. And then the rest of it. And this comes up through the hole, and I believe it stops right there. So I don't think that pivot that's on the end here, and it's probably a little thicker there, and it's like that, and then the pivot is on the end. I don't believe that pivot is touching this decorative jewel. And that's on the, which wheel is that on? I think that was probably the, it's obviously not the, no, I think it might have been on the second hands wheel on the other side. So, that makes sense? No, it doesn't. So it's on the third wheel instead of the fourth wheel. So, second and third wheel, I think. So, first, second was the center, so third wheel, and then the fourth wheel is the second hand. So, yeah, anyway, two of those wheels on that plate. So, let me look at it again here. There's the plate. There's the mainspring would be right here, like that. And then that's the first wheel is the mainspring. Second wheel, right, is the one that had the cap on it. The third wheel has a cap on it. The fourth wheel, darn it, the fourth wheel's capped too. That means all this stuff is on the other side. So you flip this around, right, and that's where the second hand comes up. So it is the wheel for the second hands that has a cap on it, but it's on the other side, obviously, because you have to have the pivot come through and to become the second hand. So, and that would be on this side of the watch where the pivot actually comes through, and that's as a second hand. I can't see it right now, but it's one of these here. So it would be lined up perfectly with this, with the where the winding stem goes in. So it'd be this one. I'll just mark it. This one right here. That is the wheel where the second hand comes through. So there's, and it's jeweled, but there's nothing fancy going on. I'll have to look and see how jeweled that is. Is that jeweled? Yeah, it is jeweled. So there is a jewel in there, and then the jewel comes up through this kind of ordinary looking piece of maybe brass with silver plating on it. So that's that. I'm mumbling way too much. I'm going to have to turn this video off. But that's why I think that these caps are fake. They look great. They're fine, but they're fake. But they're covering a jewel, so these jewels are not capped. But the other ones are. So my assessment, I think my general assessment of the quality of this watch is that it is a very high quality watch. So it has got some fake stuff going on, like this gear being, just sitting on top of the mainspring barrel. This one here, that is absolutely fake. It doesn't do anything but turn and pretend it's something, right? And so that's that one. This one here is also fake, right? So it turns and absolutely doesn't do anything, period. So it makes it look like it's the ratchet wheel, I think. I showed you the wrong gear there for a second, so it's this one here I'm talking about. So this one just sits on top, and as the mainspring barrel turns, this just sits on here, and then on the other side, I think, yeah, on this side, and it turns above the plate, so which makes it look like this is winding the watch, but it's not, because on the bottom of the watch we have this wheel here, which is actually doing all the winding. So pretty cool. There's some pretty interesting Swiss invention, Swiss innovative design going on here. So that's a pretty amazing design for a pocket watch. Alrighty then. So that's all I got to say today. So I'm JD with the crooked hat. It always feels like it needs to be on this side like that. And when I look at the camera, it looks like it's over that way too much. So let me just do that. Oh yeah. Not that this is going to make me look any better. So I think age ruins looks. Just take a note. Age ruins looks. And you can't fight it. Anyway, so that was taking apart this this Numa Freschlin pocket watch. Numa Freschlin was the manufacturer of the pocket watch in Switzerland, and again they made this watch so it could be sold in North America, and all the North American dudes would think, hey, what a nice Swiss-made North American pocket watch, a la style of an Elgin, a Hamilton, or a Waltham in the old days. So, and it says Meridan watches here on the watch crystal, so in the face, Meridan watches. Can't really find anything about that, but this is a fake Swiss pocket watch with a fake plate in front that does absolutely zero, has absolutely no function other than good looks. It's kind of like the hat I'm wearing right now, has absolutely no function but keeping the rain out of my eyes. That's all a peak does on a peak cap. So anyway, so thanks a lot for watching the video. I've babbled way too long today. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to clean this thing up, see if I can remove that screw where the other cap jewel was, because that was a challenge. I think I need to go deep and dirty on that one. And if you have any comments, please leave them at jdwatchservice@gmail.com, and or comment on YouTube. Please enjoy the comments. Hit like, hit subscribe if you would. I really appreciate it, and it supports my channel, and I will keep making crazy watch videos. And remember, if you're watching this watch video and you get bored, poopless, I'll say, to keep it clean, then just use the fast forward button on your YouTube, okay? Don't tell me my videos are too long. Just go like that, and it'll move, and it'll be faster. So anyway, not too many people tell me my videos are too long, by the way, but I may babble too much. If you really want to learn how to repair watches, though, look in the behind me there on the right-hand side. The Watch Repair Course, Volume 2 Introduction, Volume 1 and Volume 2 Introduction Watch Repair. There's some good courses out there. I won't say Mark's last name, but Mark has got excellent online courses where he can teach you how to repair watches. You just have to look up Mark Watch Repair. Mark. And I took his courses years ago. Not sure how long years ago it was, but he's got very good courses on diagnosing watch problems. And actually how to handle watches and take them apart. I didn't have gloves on or anything today because I'm not too concerned about the mystery watch, but the unveiling was good, and I was able to prove that this watch is a total fake pocket watch. Fake North American pocket watch made in Switzerland. Thanks a lot. I gotta shut up.